Good afternoon, Your Honor. We are hearing case 25 CR 764, State of Ohio versus Kentronique E. Harris. Present in court is the defendant, who's accompanied by her attorney, Ms. Gabrielle Poplis. We were previously here in this matter on September 24th, 2025. At that time, the defendant withdrew her previously entered plea of not guilty and entered a plea of guilty to count 1, failure to comply with an order or signal of a police officer, a felony of the 3rd degree. This matter was referred to the Lake County Adult Probation Department for pre-sentence investigation and report. That report has been completed. The state has had an opportunity to review that report, and the state is ready to proceed with sentencing. There are 171 days of jail time credit. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. 1 second, please. All right, any reason we shouldn't proceed with sentencing?
No, Your Honor.
Is there anything you'd like to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor, just briefly. The defense submitted a sentencing memorandum in support of Ms. Harris. I know the court indicated that you received that. Attached to the memorandum is several letters of support submitted on Ms. Harris's behalf. Additionally, just to highlight a few points in our memorandum, we are asking this court for the minimum sanctions, and we'll be asking for community control. That's an agreement that the defense entered into with the state. And as highlighted in Ms. Harris's pre-sentence investigation report, she's 24 years old. She has a 3-year-old son, and in her pre-sentence investigation report, she takes accountability for the conduct that led to this case. She apologized to officers that were involved, investigating officers, responding officers. Her criminal history is minimal. She has some prior misdemeanor offenses, but no prior felony record. She does have one warrant out of Shaker, but that is, to my understanding, a traffic warrant. She also has had some traumatic history within her family. At 9 years old, her mother was murdered. At that time, she went to live with her grandmother, who, as outlined in the pre-sentence investigation report, was an addict at the time. Ms. Harris suffered significant verbal and physical abuse at the hands of her grandmother. Despite that, she has maintained a good relationship with her siblings and with her dad. And as indicated in the pre-sentence investigation report, there was a low risk with respect to her criminal history. If this court would impose community control, Ms. Harris has indicated that she could live with family, although she has not worked out the specific details of that. She indicated that she could potentially be living with her uncle on her mom's side. His name is Stephen or Stephen?
You're telling me potential she could live anywhere. I mean,
Understood, Your Honor. In my conversation with my client, she's indicated those are details she has to work out just because she has been staying in the jail for several months. She lost where she was staying previously, so those are details that she has to work out, and she doesn't want.
Hypothetically, if I let her out today, where would she go? They don't have any information as to where she would go.
Well, as of today, where she would go would be with her uncle.
Okay, go on.
Thank you. And just to highlight a few things from the sentencing memorandum submitted on her behalf, we indicated, as I said, she is a mother of a 3-year-old son his life has been disrupted in her absence. Her sole focus at this time, if this court would grant community control, would be to locate her son and to rekindle her relationship with him. Additionally,
all right, go ahead, never mind. But
go ahead, Your Honor.
well, I just say you said that the son's life has been turned upside down because of her being incarcerated. She wasn't with him before that, was she?
My understanding is that she was with her son previous to that. Her son was living with her prior to her incarceration.
Okay.
You were his primary care. She was his primary caregiver. So her focus, if this court would grant community control, would be her son, and additionally she wants to focus on a career in health care. As we outlined in our sentencing memorandum, she suffered the loss of a parent at a young age, and the letters of support submitted on her behalf highlight the trauma that she endured when she was young. And her statements, I believe this court indicated and has provided a copy of Ms. Harris's letter submitted to this court. I believe Ms. Harris would also like to make a statement that she has taken accountability for her actions. And just lastly, the defense included in our memorandum just a few cases out of Lake County Common Pleas Court which imposed community control in those cases. Those are all third-degree felony failure to comply. And so giving Ms. Harris community control would be consistent with those cases as well. Thank you.
So who lives at 1515 East 193rd Street in Euclid?
I used to live there.
That's where Ms. Harris used to live before her incarceration.
With who else lives there?
My grandmother used to live there too. My grandmother, my brothers, all of us lived there.
Her grandmother on her mom's side used to stay there, and her brothers.
Well, who's the grandma that's in the nursing home now?
That grandmother, she's been in a nursing home since I got here.
All right, well, this says that you used 468 East 147th Street in Cleveland as your mailing address, and that was your grandmother's house, who's now in a nursing home.
And I told them that's a house that my family owned. 1515.
So that's a different address than the one I just asked you about.
That's correct, Your Honor. That address was on Ms. Harris's identification. Your driver's license?
Yes.
It was on her driver's license. She indicated that was owned by a family member.
It's a family house.
Well, that's not what she said to probation. That's why I'm confused. She's historically used the 468 East 147th Street, Cleveland, Ohio address as her mailing address, even though she didn't live there. This home belonged to her grandmother, who's now in a nursing home due to the defendant being incarcerated. The defendant had been residing at 1515 East 193rd Street in Euclid prior to arrest. And I just asked what home that was, and she said it was the grandmother's home, who was in the nursing home. So that's different from what she told probation.
So, Your Honor, just to clarify, I spoke with my client about that. That previous address was where Ms. Harris was staying before. Then her grandmother moved into a nursing home. At that time, she moved into the 1515 address. And so that's why there's a conflict there as to the addresses. The first address that's on her identification was a previous address. And then the 1515 one was where she was staying before she was incarcerated.
Now, who lives there? Whose house is that?
It was her grandmother's house.
The 1515?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The previous house was her grandmother's. The
It still is her house. She owned that house on 468. That's why it's like the mailing address because it never changed.
I mean, these aren't hard questions. I mean, who lives at whose houses are these?
The 1515 house is her grandmother's house before she went into the nursing home.
Okay, and so who's the 468 East 147th Street house?
That's a house her grandmother owns currently, sorry.
But didn't live there. Someone else lives. I mean, it's
I
just-
did live there when my mother passed away. That's the first house I moved into.
Well, that was 15 years ago, right?
Right. My grandmother still owns the house.
So she doesn't live there.
No, she moved to the 1515 house. And now she's in the nursing home.
No, you may continue. I'm sorry. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to say.
I think that concluded everything, Your Honor. Thank you.
Well, Ms. Harris, you have the right to address the court before you are sentenced. You can say anything you like. Is there anything you want to say at this time?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for this opportunity to address the court. Let me sincerely apologize to the courts, the officers involved, and my family for my poor decision leading us to this moment. I would like to express how these circumstances has transformed me into a better woman. In the past, I lived for the moment. I now live and plan not only for my future, but for my son's future as well. A major aspect of that future is returning to my career in healthcare. Caring for others gives my life purpose and meaning. I'm focused on
Just a little
attending.
Just speak up just a little bit.
Okay.
Ma'am, I've heard everything you said so far, but
I'm focused on obtaining a nursing license and feel that only death can stop me from achieving that goal. I'm focused, determined, and inspired, needing only this chance to commence
slow
the
down.
next phase.
'Cause
Sorry.
you got to take everything down you're saying.
To commence the next phase of my life. Thank you for your time and consideration, Your Honor.
All right, anything else on behalf of the defense?
Just briefly, Your Honor, I just wanted to highlight, I know in the pre-sentence investigation report, there are a few infractions in Ms. Harris's institutional summary, and I just wanted to note that although not excusing the conduct, there was no physical altercation, no violent tickets while she was incarcerated, so I just wanted to note that for the court.
These violations are pretty significant. And most of them we get are 23-hour violations, and they don't treat the COs the way she treated them. These were multiple.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right, on behalf of the state of Ohio?
Your Honor, during plea negotiations in this case, the state did agree to make a recommendation of community control sanctions in this case, and the state would honor that agreement at this time. Thank you.
This court has considered and reviewed the pre-sentence report and investigation and received a sentencing memorandum that was filed on behalf of the defendant by her attorneys. I've read and considered that along with the attached letters. I received a letter from the defendant herself, and I've read and considered that. I've considered everything that's been said here in court today by the lawyers, the defendant herself. I've also considered the facts and circumstances of the offense involved, the nature of the offense. And I consider all of this in light of the purposes and principles of felony sentencing set forth in 29 and 2911. As for the factors in 2912, none of those factors are present, indicating it's more or less serious. However, under 2921.331b, the court's also required to consider the factors set forth in that statute, since this is a flee and eluding charge. And in that regard, the court notes that the defendant's high rate of speed in driving in this matter, she was over 100 miles an hour. She also passed another vehicle by driving on the shoulder of the freeway to pass this vehicle, put others at significant risk. Those are factors indicating it's more serious than normal. Nothing makes it less serious. As for recidivism factors, the court finds the defendant does have a history of criminal convictions. Since 2020, there's an obstructing official business, a theft, another theft, the possession of marijuana, an attempted theft, originally charged as a felony, and it got reduced to a misdemeanor. Those are all prior convictions. Court also notes that her probation has been violated a couple times. Since the last conviction for the attempted theft, she was put on probation in Cuyahoga County. It was violated on 2 separate occasions. So she has failed to comply with previously imposed sanctions ordered by courts. In fact, she was on probation at the time she committed this offense. Other relevant factors indicating recidivism is more likely it's the defendant's conduct and behavior while in custody of the jail. There are multiple disciplinary infractions that she committed that deal with her and the manner and way how she treated authority and treated the COs there. I mean, I know you indicate in your statement that you've learned to respect law enforcement and from your time in jail. It certainly doesn't look like it from the way you treat these COs. When they tell you to do something, you're supposed to do it. When your probation officer, if you're on probation, tells you to do something, you're going to have to do it. You're not going to be able to respond by saying, no, I'm not moving. What the fuck are you going to do about it?
I understand.
Then they order you to do something again, and your response, I'm not fucking moving to that cell. I don't give a fuck what you say. You're ignorant as fuck, bitch. I'm not moving. What the fuck are you going to do about it? That's respecting authority?
No.
And that's just one incident. I mean, there's at least 5 other incidents in which that conduct is similar, and the way in your communication with the corrections officer is very similar. So why should I believe if you're put on probation, you're not going to just treat your probation officer the same way when they tell you you need to do something that you don't want to do? I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
I'm not
You're not what?
going to disrespect my probation officer.
Well, I'm sure if I was asked if you're going to disrespect corrections officers, you would say I'm not. I guess I'm trying to figure out how am I supposed to believe that? Anyway, that's a factor indicating recidivism is more likely. There's nothing indicating it's less likely. This is a felony of the 3rd degree. You need to talk, you need some time?
I apologize, Your Honor.
I mean, if you want to talk, I'll let you talk a minute to talk.
No, I'm finished, Your Honor.
It's felony of 3rd degree. There's no presumption one way or the other. Presumption for prison or presumption for probation is up to the court. Based on the nature of the offense and some of the history here, the prison is certainly consistent with the purposes and principles of sentencing. The question is whether you're amenable to available community control sanctions, meaning whether if you're put on probation, if you're going to be able and willing and capable to follow the rules of probation, to follow the conditions of the court, to do what you're required to do. And that's where I'm struggling here. Because the nature of the offense itself is complete defiance of authority, fleeing from police officers. Conduct in the jail and dealing with the authority there is in complete defiance of law enforcement. But I'll give you one chance, Ms. Harris. It's only going to be one chance. You've been on probation before and you violated and you didn't get to prison. They they do nothing in Cuyahoga County. That's not how it works out here. I want to make sure you understand that. If you screw up on your probation, you're going to prison. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're probably going to prison for longer than you would go today if I sent you to prison, because I'm giving you a chance, and I hope it doesn't come to that. But if I give you a chance and you screw up and you just you act the same way, it's going to be a more severe penalty than it would be today if I sent you to prison. You understand that?
Yes.
You still want that chance?
Yes.
All right. I'll find you amenable to an available community control sanction. I'm going to put you on community control sanctions for a period of 2 years. I'm going to order that you serve 180 days in jail. You have credit for 171 days, about another week, and then you'll be released.
Okay.
Upon your release, you're going to need to immediately, I don't know what that day would be, 9 days from now? It could be on the weekend, huh?
Saturday,
You already got it figured out?
the 15th.
Sorry. You're going to need to contact your probation officer first thing that Monday morning. Is that how you want to do it, Derek? I'm assuming if it's, or are you guys going to see her before she leaves?
So it should be brought up for rules.
Oh, before she gets out. Oh, then all right, never mind then. So never mind. Before you're released, you'll be brought up to the probation department, and they'll go over all the rules and everything with you. I was thinking ahead when she. So then they'll tell you when you need to show up after that.
Okay.
All right. So before you're released on that Saturday, you'll be brought up most likely next week one day. They'll go over all the rules with you, and then they'll tell you when you need to report next. So forget what I said about the Monday after.
Okay.
But you're going to need to report to your probation officer as directed. You are not to use any drugs or alcohol. That includes marijuana, too. Marijuana would be a violation of your probation. You understand that?
Yes.
Submit random urine screens if requested. They have to be negative. You can't tamper with the urine samples, bring in fake urine, someone else's urine, anything like that. I want you to obtain and maintain full-time employment or education. If you want to go back to school or go to get some type of training, that's fine too. But on a full-time basis, you're either working, you're going to school, or some combination of the two to keep yourself busy, 30, 40 hours a week. You understand that?
Yes.
I'm going to order that over the course of the 2 years that you perform 80 hours of community service. But I don't want you waiting to the very end to do it. You're going to be on for 24, you're going to need to provide proof of at least 3 hours a month.
Okay.
So that by the time you get to the end, you should be right there. We're not waiting to the very end. So if you don't do 3 hours a month, that'd be a violation. You understand that?
Yes.
I'm also going to order that, and it's a rule of probation, but I'm going to make it specific, that you are not, you need to advise probation and keep them up to date on where you're residing. And if you move 3 times a week, fine, but you need to let them know where you're moving.
Okay.
So you're going to need to let them know where you're going to be living when you first get out, and if that's just temporary, that's just fine. But you can't have just a mailing address but be living other places. If you want to use some place as a mailing address, that's fine. That's not, but they need to know where you're actually living. And if we're told that you live at a certain residence, they're going to come out there. And if you're not there, you're not residing there, it's going to be a violation. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. So, again, if you use someone's house or residence as a mailing address, fine. But but you need to know the address that you're living at. All right?
Yes.
And if it changes, fine, but they need to know when it changes. And if they don't know that, or if they go to some place that you say you're living and you're not living there, there's going to be a warrant issue for a probation violation. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. There's a mandatory license suspension I'm required to impose of a minimum of 3 years up to life. I'll do the minimum 3 years. You pay court costs and supervision fees. Specific condition of probation is no driving a motor vehicle. I know there's a license suspension, but she's not to drive a motor vehicle. So if she's driving, That's a violation regardless of whether she gets, cited for DUS or caught.
Already had it on my calendar. I knew it. Just knew he was gonna suspend 901.
Eric, any other conditions you can think of or I should consider here?
No, Your Honor. The only thing I could think of is, especially if there was the rooted trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Health assessment would be beneficial.
What'd you
No,
say?
health assessment.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Now you have an order of mental health evaluation and follow any recommendations, for any type of counseling or treatment, whatever is recommended, you'll need to do, and you need to sign whatever releases probation needs, so that if they need to talk to counselors or doctors, they can do that. And take whatever medications, if any, are recommended. So do you understand all the conditions, Ms. Harris, of your community control sanctions?
Yes, Your
Do you have
Honor.
any questions for me?
No.
I need to advise you, if you fail to comply with any of these conditions, any of the rules of probation, which will be gone over with you, if you leave Ohio without permission from the court, or if you commit another crime, I do want you to resolve the outstanding warrant also. There's, I think, a traffic warrant.
Yeah, I have to pay $505.
Okay. Well, that needs to get resolved as soon as possible. I can't have you on probation for all this time with a warrant out for you, all right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I understand it may take you a little bit to get the money, but it can't be dragging out. You need to get that resolved ASAP, right? As
Yes.
soon as possible. And however you resolve, that's not going to affect your probation. So it's just a warrant for money that's owed? You've already been
Yeah.
found guilty of the charge or whatever it was?
Yes.
Okay. So if you commit a new crime, leave Ohio, don't follow any of these conditions, a motion to terminate your community control will be filed. If it's found that you violated, I could extend your probation up to 5 years. I can impose more restrictive sanctions, including local jail time, or I could terminate your probation and send you to prison. If I did that, it would be 36 months in prison. So that's what's hanging over your head. You understand that?
Yes.
And that would have to be consecutive by law to any other sentence that you may be, any other prison sentence you may be serving at that time, if there's some other new case that comes up, or that you're being sentenced to at that time. Understand that?
Yes.
All right, I think that covers everything. Ms. Himmeline, anything else for the record?
Your Honor, just on the possible prison, wouldn't it be up to 60 months?
Oh, yes.
You made a finding of.
Yes, I'm sorry. If prison sentence was imposed, it would be a 60-month prison sentence that would be consecutive to anything else. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. Anything else on behalf of the defense?
Just briefly, Your Honor, once Ms. Harris secures full-time employment, would this court consider providing her with driving privileges for work purposes?
Statute doesn't allow for that. 29, 21, 331.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All rise.